wanted everything to be almost a 1/16 to an eighth larger so that he could plane it down. So I couldn't use that, so I just had to do this over here. So let's say I was cutting at 17 inches. Right there's a 17. If you look at it, you'll see both lines underneath that. If you can get at eye height with it, right there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if it's right on 17, you'll get to see that. If you're wanting to do 1 inch, then you just drop it down to the 16, but then go a line past.
To count for the blade?
Count for the blade thickness, and then you're going to have a 1 inch board.
Okay.
But if you just are doing 1 inch every time and not a specific thickness, you see that 4/4 right there?
Yeah.
And it's all on the right hand side? That 4?
Yep.
Just take it down to the next 4. Takes care of the curve.
Oh, if you just follow the 4s?
Just follow the 4s for a 1 inch board. If you follow the 5s, you're doing 1 1/4 board. But you're also cutting out the curve of it too, so it's going to be 1 1/4.
And then the
your 6 is 1.5 inches, and your 8 is 2 inch.
Oh, that's why it's labeled a number. 4/4,
Right.
5/4, 6/4.
5, 4, 5, 6, and 8/4.
Okay.
So it's 2 inch, 1.5 inches, 1 1/4, and 1 inch. So that's all we do there.
I see that.
Now, just take a hold of, just push, get right here, and I just want you to push and get it going.
Okay. Very easy.
Very easy. Even when you get into the wood, once you get into, I'm going to let you cut here in a minute, but before I even do that, this is your choke right here. There's your key to start it, but you also have, if you had any kids around, you can actually take that out. When you take it out, this, you push in, turn, and, well, where's it at? There's a thing right there, and it pulls out, and then they can't start it. Won't kick over to start. So it deadens the battery to it.
Perfect.
So you can't have somebody get in there and play when they shouldn't be. But that is a safety feature they put on this. This is your feed. Once you start it and it runs, as soon as you give it gas, the blade starts turning.
So you'll all know it.
So it's a centrifugal force. Once the RPMs pick up, it goes. Now, to replace anything on here wise, you can check your oil. I'm pretty sure you know how to do that. The yellow one's here. To change the blade, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 2 on the other side, just like these. Okay. Except this one here, because it's hidden, they give you a little bit longer thing on there. You just put it on there and take it off because it's inside there.
Oh.
So it does. So you don't have to reach inside and try to get it out. Okay. So you just take this, take it off, and go. Just take a crescent wrench and away you go.
Perfect.
Now, to tighten the blade, and I'd like you to do this for me so you can see this. Feel that, because I've already tightened it. Feel how tight that is when you squeeze it. It doesn't move much, does it?
No, you guys feel this too.
So when you tighten this, I do, if you had a torque wrench, it'll tell you in the owner's manual what you need by torque. So what I've always done is just by feel, and here's your, right here, and all you do is take your, this, I have a big wrench to do it, but I do this, and if you got a torque wrench, then you need, I think, 1 3/8. Yeah, 1 3/8.
I wrote a socket said.
Yeah, if you had 1 3/8, then you just put that on there and just crank it up, and then to loosen it, crank it down. But that is as tight as you want it, and it should move, what they say, it should move about 1/4 inch when you squeeze.
That little give.
And that little give, and then you feel it give. When you have it loose, you'll see that it just loosens all around it. Now, this is your crank for up and down, but this is your guide, saw guide. We're going to come up here now. The saw guide, you want that past this, and then you also always want this one. They have it out a little bit further, but you see these tabs on here?
Yes.
These are your stop tabs. So the board, if you have a cant, it won't slide off when you try to do it, but you can also put it in with the dogs. These are called dogs.
Yeah.
And that dog just slides in, and it really works simple because it's like a cam. And I'll show you how that works real quick. So when I bring this up, I'm not going to put it in because the log is so heavy. I'm not going to do that, but here's how it works. This just actually, see how it's not straight there? It's not straight. You just put that in, and then I can bring it up against that further. Then you push it in, and then you let go, get that off, and then push it in. And then it just cams it on against that. And then it actually goes at an angle there. Put that back on, and now it's loose. And you can hang it up, and go like that. Now, I had a guy make all of this for me because he had the metal. So I have this for demonstration out here for that. Now,
We have new tracks.
you can go through here. This is where your cut's going to be. All you want to do is make sure that neither guy's going to hit the log when you come down. I'm going to let you cut. But I want you, once you push in, just keep it going at a steady rate. But I promise you, you'll start being able to feel it even on the first time you've ever cut with it. When it gets to this, you'll feel it start to work.
Because of the knot?
Because of that knot, and you're also going a wider board.
Okay.
What you want to do then, all you do is you can still keep it going, but just feel maybe you got to go a little bit slower. But keep it moving at that point in time. I'll set it up for 1 inch right now.
And at no point in this machine, none of us are to be forcing this, right?
You should never, if you have to force it, you got something binding somewhere.
Right.
If it's going, it should just go right straight through.
It should always be live for anybody, and then
Right.
back every time.
And it should be. Now the difference is when you bring it back, once you stop, and I'll do an example here. Once I get to, now I'm done. Once I get past it and I go above it, I just hit a quarter crank and now I'm above it.
Yeah.
So when you come back, you don't want the back of that, just in case something comes out of whack and it drops below here. Because when you just slow it down, it's still going to spin. And what you do, if you hit that, it's going to take that blade right off of those wheels and guides.
No bueno.
So I always do it once, even though if it's perfectly level. Let me see what it will do right now. I'm not going to start it up though. Okay. See how it hits a little bit?
Yeah.
And that's just,
It's enough to fuck it up.
just hit it about a quarter of a turn and then you're above it. Now, that's also dry though.
What kind of tree is this one?
This is cherry.
Cherry tree.
This is cherry log. I brought it up. I have those 8 there, or 6 there, and plus I have some more down back, and I have a few down in the woods there. Yeah, I have ash too, which is pretty hard. Now this is your tank for your fluids, and all you need to use is water and like Dawn dish soap.
Is it just a little bit of dish soap?
Whatever, it's 5 gallons, whatever makes it. It doesn't have to be really soapy or anything. Just,
just
put a
got a
little
little
bit in
squirt or
there,
two.
and just to make it so that what it's going to do is try to get the pitch off of the blade. And if you do pine or things like that, it keeps it. And somewhat of a coolant, but your blade's not going to get that hot in this little bit. I mean, it's going to get warm, but it's not going to get that hot.
Cool.
So, right now. So, I'm right at 13 and just below a half. So I'm going to go right to the 12 and a half. And then I'll be about 1 inch thick.
Cool.
Okay? So here we go. Choke it.
Out. And then run and pop the choke back in.
Right, just get it started. Pop it back in. Now that sound is because on a 36 inch, they have a different clutch. So watch what happens when I engage it. That clicking on the clutch goes away. All you have to do is stop it, bring that up. There you go, they're starting to come up.
Oh, there's a deer over there.
They're starting to come
It's not deer.
Cow. The bull?
Deer?
Is that a bull?
That one's a bull. We got him a year and a half ago because it was going to be raising.
Two of them.
There's actually only
3 of
one
them.
bull. They
3.
all have horns.
Aha.
We only have one bull, but the Scottish Highlands all have horns, and they're all pretty good sized horns. But we just took one and got it butchered a week ago Wednesday. But we eat it. It's one of the leanest meats you can buy. Its cholesterol is the lowest you can eat.
Huh.
And I'll give you an example. Before I started raising these, my cholesterol was 240, so they started telling me to take whatever that stuff is. I can't remember the name of it.
Some kind of med.
But anyways, so I started taking them, but we started raising those and butchering them, and my cholesterol, when I went to get my physical a few years later into that, was only 180. He goes, "What are you doing?"
Eating good food.
I said, "Well, we used to raise chickens, pigs, and rabbit too for meat, and beef. But when my wife went back to work, we got rid of the chickens and rabbits and pigs, and now we just go next door to get the pigs, and they do the same thing we did. We only give them grains. There is no antibiotics. If they get sick and don't get well,
That's
they better get
nature.
better on their own.
Yeah.
If not, they're not going to make it. One got what they call a fly strike, and a fly strike is it's flies that just land on like a sore,
Yeah.
and they lay their eggs, and the maggots just take over the whole.
Oh my
side.
God, that's sad.
Yeah.
So it is disgusting, but we had one hit that and get that, and then that's one of the calves that's going, or steers that's out there. So we make the bulls were going to steers, but this year we got to sell 2 of the 3 calves. One was still a bull, and the other one was a cow. And she actually saw it on Facebook when I was trying to ad for firewood and rough cut lumber and stuff like that. He said, "Is that calf for sale?" I just answered it, and he was from an hour and a half, 2 hours away. I didn't think it went that far. I was just trying to do within a certain range here, and next thing I know, so he ended up buying the girl calf, but we will not sell them until about 5 months into it because I want to make sure.
Oh
they're
yeah, you
nursed
can
off
see
their
there's
mothers
the
now.
other ones over there too.
We do it as natural as possible. There is no, so the bull goes with them all year round. They only get grass, and that's it. There is no grain in them. So
That's so
we
cool.
get, and my, like I said, the only thing I did with my cholesterol was start eating that beef and the chickens and stuff that we raised. So I told the doctor about it. He said, "Well, I'm going to use you as an example."
He should.
So we'll go from there. Now, I'm going to let you work this,
Okay.
but I will get it started for you. But I want to teach you something. I'm going to do something I don't ever want you to do.
Okay.
And that is, once you go in a board, once you go in a log, don't back out of it. If something happens that causes you to stop, the reason is, when you start backing out, if it catches on anything, it's going to come right off the wheels and out of the guides.